So I just wanted to give us a little bit of context about our dear Reverend LAURALEE, who's going to join us in just a couple of moments. LAURALEE and I met in Kelowna in a practitioner class. And even though we were both part of CSL in Kelowna, we didn't actually hang out together, you know? I mean, even within a community, you get your own little community, right? And so we were not in the same little circles together. And then we got to be in class together. And that was so interesting for me because I was at that time a very, let's just say, hard-nosed journalist. And she was a very, very squishy, lovely nurse. And so there was like really hard ass, this is the way it has to be, you know, kind of thing coming from me. And she was like, oh, but it's so lovely and so warm and let me give you a hug. And I was like, really? And of course now I hug like constantly. So you can tell that there's been at least a shift in me. LAURALEE gets to talk about any shifts in her, but she's had a huge influence on me. She's just one of the greatest lights that I've ever met. I can't talk about it too much because I'll get choked up, but I know that she has beautiful things to share with all of you, and I can't wait to hear from her. She's a ordained now reverend from operating out of the Vernon Center, and they're so lucky to have her, and we're so lucky to have her with us today. So please welcome Reverend LAURALEE. Come on, girl.
I'm coming. I'm making sure I'm on.
You're always on.
Oh,
there you go.
thanks. She's just so cute, isn't she? Oh, my goodness. What an honor to be here today. And I have to tell you, first of all, I want to say thank you to all the volunteers for the great work that you do, particularly with the videos. Who's the video guy here? Is he here? And the person who does the... Corey. Was Corey here? Yay to Corey. And also the person who works, who's the computer person who does all the paperwork, all the stuff online? You guys are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, because what it's enabled me to do is to stay really connected with you. Like there's no distance when you got technology. So last week you were talking about the paradox. I have been living that paradox all week in preparing this talk. Being in my humanness. Oh, I'm so excited, Karin. I'm so excited. I think I got diarrhea. I don't think I can come today. Do you know that craziness? And I was saying to Karin too that in preparing for this talk, it was really unlike anything that I've done before. Normally I'd have a whole sheet of paper, this note, I'd have it memorized in my head, but not this time. So I've had some days where I've been kind of tormented. I was not doing the BTL. Don't you love the BTL? For the BTL, for those of you who are not here this morning, it was Alan's meditation. Breathe, thought, let it go. Breathe, watch the thought, then let it go. Isn't that awesome? If you don't get anything today, just get the BTL. Because what I found myself in, I got hooked in the thought. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of compare myself to people. It's one of those belief systems that I have that I'm working really, really hard at breaking through. So I'd watch Reverend Karin. Oh, she's so intellectual. She's so good. I watch this person. Thought, how am I going to do it? I don't know if I can do it. I think I'm going to have diarrhea. But it's releasing, right? It's all the stuff that does. I don't know why I'm talking about poop. But anyway. I know, I'm a nurse. It comes out easily because everything's about the poop. The shit. Pardon me, I said it, but anyway. But the reason why I say that, it's about letting go of the stuff that doesn't serve us. And this is what's so great about this teaching. It gives us the tools to let it all go. So I wasn't sure how I was going to start this today. And I said to myself, you know what? Spirit is everything. It's in me. It's everything. And I'm just going to trust that spirit to flow through me. And what stops spirit from flowing through us are those blocks, those limiting belief systems. So I was sitting here in this movie theater, and I thought it was perfect because 30 years ago, I moved to Vancouver. I was here, lived here 5 years, and I was so wounded, so asleep, that what I would do, I worked at Children's Hospital. I worked so much and so hard because I didn't know what my value was at all, and I just completely addicted to work. And I would go down to the Granville Street movie theater, I'd watch the scariest movie I could ever watch. I'd eat the biggest bag of popcorn, and I'd eat a huge big bag of M&Ms. And then you know where I'd go to afterwards? Then I would go to the Cheesecake Cafe and I'd eat cheesecake. I was so asleep and I was so numb to myself. I didn't know that God is everything and I'm part of that. I was so deeply wounded. So sitting here now this morning and seeing where I've come from and what I do now in my life, you know, I should have wore waterproof mascara because it was like, wow, you've come a long way, girl. You know, even right now, you know, seeing what Karin is developing here. Like I said to her earlier, my dad used to say to me, he says, you know what, I remember when you were just a twinkle in your mom's eye. Now with Karin, I remember Karin when we finished ministry school, she wasn't sure what she was going to do. And I said, girl, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. And here you are. And it's so neat to see the manifestation of that what you think about with heart and feeling, it will happen. You can create whatever you want in your life. Are there obstacles along the way? Yes, there are. But you know what? Those obstacles are the opportunity for you to grow and step through. This work is simple, but it's not always easy. But you know what? When you're part of a community, you'll get tools to work through that. So, the wound. My biggest opening for me that woke me up from being asleep was probably the death of my mother, and that's how I found this teaching. Prior to that, like I say, I was asleep. There's something wrong with me. There's something desperately wrong with me, and I got to figure out what it is. So when I was in Vancouver, when I was working like crazy, that wasn't working very much anymore. I started doing development courses, self-development courses, and the self-development courses that I did, this one's going to help me. This one's going to help me. This one's going to help me. This is going to help me. It's still not it. It's still not it. I was looking outside for that piece. $25,000 later. $25,000 later. Oops. Is that Miss Barbara? Oh my God, look at this. Oh, do you see who's in the audience? Oh my gosh, what an honor. I also did ministry school with Barbara. It's like all home week here this week. So anyway, so with that, I ended up going to Saudi Arabia, and it ended up being my 25 years in the desert. My 25 years, $25,000 gone, but it was my 40 years in the desert because I need to get in touch with myself. I needed to discover who I was. I needed to separate myself off from all the who I thought I was. I didn't have my own identity. So I get my own identity, and my mother ends up getting cancer. Well, she had cancer when she was. Barbie threw me. I gotta mark it again here. It's okay. So my mom had cancer. She had cancer when I was young, and I didn't realize how it affected me. From that, I learned that I was responsible for everything and everyone. So I didn't really know how to take care of myself, and that precipitated some of my workaholism. So when she did have cancer, when I was young, she did not do chemotherapy. She did chemotherapy for 1 month, and then she didn't do it anymore. So as a result of that, I didn't realize how deeply that affected me. Because she did chemotherapy, I was not going to have anything to do with chemotherapy. So that meant doing nothing with chemotherapy with children. So I'm a pediatric nurse, been doing that for 30 years, but never ever did the chemo with children. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I got an opportunity to do a new job, which I'm doing now, which is patient care coordinator. And in that job, I have to give chemo to kids. But I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? So I go to Children's Hospital to get training for it, and I'm just stepping through it. And all of a sudden, I can't walk. My hip has failed, I can't walk, and like, what's wrong? What's my body trying to tell me? And what I realized was I felt like I was betraying my mother if I gave chemotherapy to the kids. That was just that huge wound where it was like, and now when I'm working with the kids, it's what I was called to do. You know, these kids, and I think why in preparing for this talk it was so difficult for me, because what I do with the kids I can't put into words because it's God. You know, I see the kids going through such horrific pain. They have their pain, but they let it go. They let the the story on the bus. I love Rumi's analogy too, where our feelings are like feelings in rooms in a house. The kids let their anger on the bus. They let their fear on the bus, and then it's gone. They don't know they're sick. They know they're sick, but it doesn't matter because they know that they're God. And I think that's why I work with children all the time, is because they keep me in touch with that essence, with the beautiful spirit that they are. So I thought to myself, you've been in nursing for 30 years. Did you miss something because the last 3 years you're just doing this oncology work? And I thought, no, I'm on time. I'm on time. I'm ready now. I look at, I had both my parents, they died, and I was with them when they made their transition. It's my experience of the wounding of losing my parents that prepared me for these kids, that I can be fully present to a parent when they have to say goodbye. And, it's just sacred work, and I know that I would not be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for this teaching and doing the work and stretching myself and being uncomfortable, letting the poop come out, that kind of stuff. So I know that each and every one of us has a calling for something. It's in you. It can't not be, because you are the God stuff. And it's like, it's the thoughts. It doesn't matter how long you've been in this teaching, that noisy mind is going to come in, and it's getting stronger and stronger in the tools. Thank you, Alan, so much for reminding me of that, because my time in preparing for this probably would have been a lot easier if I would have remembered that. I got caught in the paradox. I was back in being a human being. But even being a human being, can I love and be gentle and easy with myself and nurture myself? Can you love yourself unconditionally? Because that's what it's about. And if you forget to love yourself unconditionally, there's somebody here in a spiritual community that can anchor you to that. So know that, we're not broken. We're not broken at all. It's a misbelief. And what we really do need to break through are those limiting beliefs. What's holding you back? It's just a thought. And you know what? That belief, no matter what it is, it's going to scream like crazy. But just love it anyway, and just let it go. Because I believe that our wounds really are our gifts. Our struggles are our gifts. Right now, I'm dealing with oncology, stepping into that, getting comfortable with that. Spirit calls for something greater all the time. So what's coming forth now into the hospital is the youth. The youth are struggling a little bit right now mentally. They're having anxiety, they're having depression. So how do I look after these kids? I know how to deal with stuff, physical stuff. But in dealing with the physical stuff, give you a Band-Aid, take an aspirin, do whatever, you're going to be better 3 or 4 days. With these youth, they're not. I have to journey with them. I have to remember that they are a spirit in perfection. And what tools, how can I support them? So right now I'm in the process of getting educated. I haven't been in school for 20 years. I'm learning computer stuff on the blackboard. Do you know how stressful that was for me? I had a full-on meltdown. I let anxiety, distress, the whole bit on the bus. And I wasn't doing it. I absolutely wasn't doing it. I was so uncomfortable. Because it's bigger. If I'm operating in a comfort zone, I'm not stretching, I'm not growing. If you're uncomfortable, say hallelujah. Hallelujah. I'm growing, I'm growing, I'm growing. Are you addicted to your limitations? I truly have been. Even doing this right now, it's like, whoa, I don't know if I could do it. I'm seriously going to get diarrhea. I won't talk about diarrhea anymore. But that's the fear, though, right? It's the fear, and we are so much more than that. Each person here, you are here for a reason right now. There is something calling you. Just say yes to it. You'll figure it out later. It'll be the best yes you ever say. Because I know for myself, if I did not find this teaching, if my mother did not die, would I have found this teaching? Do I wish I had my mother with me right now? Do I wish I had my dad with me here right now? Yes, I do. But you know what? I know they are with me, just in a different form. Because I know that what I do makes a difference in the lives of children and families. And in the youth that I'm learning about. Because you know what I'm learning? I'm learning how to accept them. There's nothing to fix. I just have to have them remember who they are. And it's the same thing with you. Within you, there's a divine perfection that's coming forth. And you know what? If you say yes to something right now, I guarantee you your anxiety is going to come on the bus. It's going to remind you, or in the middle of the night, it'll come knocking at your door. Who do you think you are? And that's just part of the package. That is the paradox again. So just love and embrace it all. Because there's nothing better to do than to be who you are and to share your gift. And your life will be so rich for that. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today and to in my fullness of all this stuff. You guys got a great, great teacher here. There's a class coming up. Just say yes. Fill the class up. Just do it. Don't even think about it. Just sign up. And I'm telling you, your life will be different. This is a fabulous, fabulous teaching, and there's really nothing better to do in your life. And the people are wonderful. You guys are all so wonderful. Thank you so much. Stay.